Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be doing yet again another unboxing. Now this is a Gemini Jets unboxing. I believe this is the August, no not August, not the releases that have just come out, obviously the ones before that. I believe that's the August releases, I'm not exactly sure, but we finally have them. I tend to get my models a little bit later than everybody else just because I think AMS is a little bit slow. I think it's just the fact it's a UK based distributor, so I just get them a little bit slower than everybody else, but I'm not too fussed about that as long as I get them in the end. I don't really care, but without further ado, I guess we're just gonna go ahead and unbox this box. This is from AMS, as I said, and yeah, let's just go ahead and unbox it. So in the box we have, I'm very excited about these as well. We have some very nice models in this unboxing. I have the confirmation order there, we have a bunch of packaging, and we have, okay, so the first model we have is the Gemini Jets Southwest Airlines 737-700 in the Florida 1 livery. Look at that, that is incredible. That looks absolutely insane. I can't wait to unbox that, but that is not the only aircraft we have in today's unboxing. We also have the Gemini Jets Spirit A321. It's a very exciting plane as well. Of course, we got that from NG a while back, but we now have the Gemini version as well. And to conclude this unboxing, we also have the third model, which is the Gemini Jets United Airlines 777-300ER. So we've got three models to go through today. I think we're going to leave the United till last. We'll do the Spirit first. I think we'll go from least exciting to most exciting, in my opinion, of course. So starting off here, of course, we've got the Spirit A321. This is a very highly anticipated model. As many of you do know, NG also just released this. I got that a couple weeks ago, the NG version. I now have the Gemini version as well. There's a few differences. We'll cover that as well in this video, but apart from that, the box is a very basic Gemini box. We've got the artwork of the aircraft there, the Spirit logo down there, Airbus A321. We have the model inside there as well. Taking the model out of the box now, just having a look to see if everything is in okay condition. Taking it out of the box, everything seems in perfect working order. Okay, and now going into this model on detail, we have the Gemini Jets one here, and I'm also going to put the NG version behind it there. We have both of these aircraft. There are a few differences. I do want to go over that, but I think I'll just go over the basic aircraft and all the details first, and then we'll get into the differences between the Gemini version and the NG version. So starting off here, you can see we've got the cockpit windows at the front here. We've got the L1 door, up here the L2 door, the forward landing gear as well. And moving back, of course, we've got the main Spirit titles here with the scratched up Spirit logo. This is the banana bus livery, of course, and we've got Home of the Bear Fair. So I'm presuming the Spirit logos are meant to be like scratched up, like it was scratched up by a bear or something. That's just what I'm guessing. And then we've got the actual wing, of course, with the Spirit.com logo on the outside of the winglet, and then on the inside, as you can see by the other side of the wing, it does say howdy on the inside of the winglet there as well. Back here we've got the Wi-Fi box on the top here, and then moving back to the rear of the aircraft, we've got the registration, which I cannot read at this time, it's too small, and then we've got the tail, which does again say Spirit. I'm bringing the NG version into frame as well. There are a few differences. The first one that's probably the most notable is you can probably see that the NG version doesn't have the Wi-Fi box. I can't remember exactly how many A321 Spirit have. I think it's in the 20s. I want to say 25 A321s. That's what I want to say, and they are currently in the process of adding the Wi-Fi box to all of their aircraft. Currently, this is still realistic. They do have a few A321s that don't have the Wi-Fi box, but eventually when all of their aircraft get renewed and get the Wi-Fi box, this aircraft will become irrelevant, and this one will be, the Gemini Jets version will be the more realistic model. But currently, of course, the NG version is still realistic because not all of their A321s have the Wi-Fi box installed. So both of these models have the IAE engines. If you're not familiar, most Airbus aircraft have either CFM engines or IAE engines. The CFM engines are the one we're having the problems with, especially from Gemini Jets. The engines, the CFM engines, are way too big. They look like Neo engines, and the IAE engines are a lot better looking. We had the United A319 released a couple months back now with the IAE engines, and they are perfect. And you can kind of see, actually, this is very surprising, but the Gemini engines actually hang a lot higher off of the ground than the NG one. And so I have to give Gemini jets the credit for that. The engines do sit a lot nicer on the Gemini ones. They sit a lot higher off the ground. However, I am noticing that the Gemini jets ones are still slightly bigger. I think although the IE engines are a lot smaller and a lot more realistic, they're not 100% realistic. You can see, I don't know if you can see from the camera here, but the NG ones are a lot smaller. They are probably the more realistic size, but the Gemini model does have the engines at a more realistic height off of the ground than the NG ones. So pick and choose what you want. It's kind of 50-50 all around. The liveries are generally the same. The NG one is a little bit lighter. The Gemini one is a little bit darker. Typically though, it's really not that different. I would honestly be happy with either of these. None of these are drastically off at all. And again, all of the livery pieces, they seem to be in the correct location. The only two things I do want to note is you can probably see on the engines here, if I bring these like this, you can probably see that the Home of the Bear Fair kind of titles there on the engines, they are a lot higher up on the Gemini Jets ones than the NG ones. I think the Gemini ones do look a lot better. And then also if we zoom in here to the winglets, you can see where it says Howdy. This is something I noted when we unboxed the NG version. But you can see the Gemini one, the Howdy actually fits onto the winglet there. But if we pan over to the NG one, or if I bring the NG one into frame, you can see that the Howdy titles on the winglets, they're kind of cut off. You can kind of see how the bottom of the Y, the bottom of the D, and a little bit of the W are kind of cut off at the bottom there. So they kind of applied this logo a little bit incorrect on the NG version. But then when we actually look at the mold, you can probably see, I always get the impression that the Gemini mold of the A320, it's a little bit chubbier. You kind of get this skinnier kind of feel on the NG version. I don't know if you can pick that up from this image here. It just looks like the Gemini one has just had a few too many cookies. But overall, it's honestly not too bad. Picking a favorite now is quite difficult to pick a favorite because they do of course have their different features. I like the overall feel of the NG A321. It's just a little bit more skinny. The actual mold looks a lot better, but the Gemini one, the livery is actually put on a little bit more correctly than the NG one, and of course it does have that Wi-Fi box on the top there. So I think overall I do actually prefer the Gemini one over the NG one, but honestly both of these are very nice models. I would recommend either of them. Of course, if you want realistic, go for the Gemini one just because of that Wi-Fi box, but apart from that, these are honestly two great models. But moving them off to the side now, and we can bring in the next model. I think we're going to do the Southwest next. So here we have the Gemini Jets Southwest Airlines 737-700 in the Florida 1 livery. Taking a look at the box now, of course, it is that Gemini Southwest box. Of course, we have the white box, which is something Gemini Jets do with a few of their airlines. I believe they do this also with UPS and with Qantas. So some airlines do get this white box treatment, and it's quite nice. We just don't have the cover with the information, but you know, I can live without that. Opening the box now though, we have the model inside there, and you can tell this one is going to be an amazing one. And taking the model out of the box, this one looks incredible. Wow, that looks insane. And putting the model down here, you can see just how insanely detailed this livery is. And taking a look at this model in closer detail, you can see that this model is absolutely incredible. And one thing I'm a little bit confused about is the 737-700 molds. Gemini Jets seem to be switching in between the old mold and the new mold. This one is the new mold. We had the Triple Crown 1 livery on this mold. They seem to go back to the old mold. For aircraft like the Colorado 1 and the Tennessee 1 liveries, they actually went back to the old mold. The old mold is absolutely perfect. The only downside to that is I noticed that on the older Canyon Blue, they actually had the back landing gear bent a little bit on purpose so that the aircraft sits flush and level. On the newer ones like the Tennessee 1 livery, they actually didn't bend the back landing gear, so you actually got this sloped kind of look to the aircraft. It kind of was sitting up a bit like this, and it kind of looked a bit odd. And again, that isn't a fault they used to have with the old mold, just because they used to bend the back landing gear so it didn't have that. It's almost like Gemini Jets reverted back to the old mold and then just forgot to bend the back landing gear just so it didn't kind of sit up on its back legs. This one was used for the Triple Crown 1 livery and the Heart livery for the 737-700, and it's a pretty good mold. Of course, this is the Florida 1 livery, so this is basically the Florida flag. If you don't know, Southwest do have a lot of these 1 liveries. They don't have them for every state, but I believe they have them for every state where they have a hub. So for example, Baltimore is in Maryland, so they have a Maryland 1 livery. Their Maryland 1 livery represents their hub of Baltimore and various other states like this. So for example, their Florida 1 livery probably represents their hub in Orlando or various other places like that. I believe they also have a hub in Tampa, I think. I'm not quite sure about that, I'll have to double check, but yeah. As I said, this livery is incredible. Going over the actual aircraft now, you can see we've got the cockpit windows here, the L1 door, then we've got this amazing kind of like mural artwork here. You can see, of course, this is the mural here. We've got like a boat in the distance there with this palm tree right here with this woman. I'm not sure about the history or the background of this mural, but yeah, we have this mural here, and then we have the, I believe this is the Wi-Fi box on the top here, as well as the Southwest tail on the back here with the Southwest logo there. We then have the registration there with the US flag, and then on the engines, I'm actually going to flip this model around so you can see the underside. You can see that the underside is also amazing on this model. We've got the wheel wells there with the stand hole there. This is honestly just an amazing model. Very detailed. I'm very impressed by this model. Gemini Jets has very much improved since last year, of course, when they kind of had their main down streak. They're kind of on an up streak this year. They have made a few dodgy models, but I think overall their outcome of this year has been good. It's honestly not rocket science. I do get a lot of people saying, why do you hate Gemini Jets, or you know, vice versa. It's literally not rocket science. If they release a bad model, I'm gonna give it a bad review and lash out on Gemini Jets. If they release a good model like this one, I'm gonna give it a good review and praise Gemini Jets for it. This is an amazing model, and Gemini Jets has done an amazing job on this model, as well as the Spirit A321. If Gemini Jets keeps this up, then they're a good company. If they don't, then they're a bad company. It's as simple as that. So yeah, this is a great model, and we're going to finally move on to our last model for this unboxing. Okay, and moving on to the third and final model of this unboxing, we have the United 777-300ER in the brand new livery. There's nothing really to say about the box. It's the typical Gemini Jets box. I've seen it 1,000, probably more, a million times. This is just their basic blue box, nothing to really comment about it. And so with that being said, let's unbox this box. And taking the model out of the box now, you can see we've got the plastic on the top there, and we have the model, again with this like greasy feel to it. It's really weird that some Gemini Jets models are coming with this now. But moving the box out of the way, and we can put the model down. Okay, and taking a look at this aircraft now, this is the United 777-300ER. The reason why, of course, I do have a United hub, so I'm trying to get as many United aircraft as possible. The reason why I didn't get any more than just one of these 777-300s is because, in truth, Dulles doesn't get a lot of 777-300s. I'm not just going, you know, crazy on Uniteds. I'm not getting every single United aircraft that's released. I'm kind of catering my United collection around Washington Dulles. So hence why I'm only getting one of these, because this doesn't come to Washington Dulles that often. This doesn't have any scheduled routes out of Washington Dulles, but it does occasionally come in as a sub. I've seen this go to Los Angeles, I've seen this go to San Francisco, and I've seen this once fly the Frankfurt route as well. Typically that is flown on the 777-200. The 777-200 is a completely other story, and you do get a lot of 777-200s at Washington Dulles. 777-300s, not so much. I do, however, have my old livery 777-300. We can put that back there. We can kind of compare them. But moving on to the actual model now, the model comes with this really slippery texture to it. I've noticed this recently in a lot of Gemini aircraft. My Lufthansa 747-8, when I got that, it came with this slippery texture, and it's really odd. It almost feels like they just dunked this model in water before giving it to me. I've also noticed this on a lot of the older NG models and a few Phoenix ones as well, but this is a new thing for Gemini jets. I've never experienced this with any other Gemini jets models before, so I don't know whether this is something they're trying out. I don't know whether it's like a polish or a I don't know what it is. The new 777 mold does annoy me a little bit. I just wish they kept the old mold, because the old mold was absolutely perfect. The landing gear, so like the forward landing gear and of course the main landing gear, they're way too high. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's way too high. Okay, so this here is my Air India 777-300 from the old mold, and you can see just how different the landing gear is. You can see that this one is the correct length. This one is just so much taller. I don't know why it's so much taller. I don't know why Gemini Jets made the choice to go with this landing gear rather than this one. This one of course doesn't roll, this one does. That's the main reason why they decided to switch to this one, but I don't know why they didn't make it any shorter than this. That's my main grievance with this mold, but apart from that, the mold is actually pretty good. The actual mold of the aircraft and the livery and the wings and everything, they seem pretty nice. It's just the landing gear that I kind of have an issue with. Starting at the front of the aircraft here, we've got the cockpit windows here, as well as the Star Alliance logo there. Then we've got the L1 door as well as the L2 door with the giant United titles now, of course. Then we have the really long landing gear there that just seems way too long. And then we have the grey underbelly of the United livery. We also have the Wi-Fi box at the forward of the aircraft here with a few antennas as well. Moving back to the main part of the aircraft, the main part, you can see that we've got some emergency exits with the emergency exit arrows on the wings there, as well as the 777-300ER kind of black stripe there, something that the old livery didn't have. And then as you can see here, we have the engines. They look very nice, and as well the wings do look very nice as well, with all the flap indents in them. They look very good. The main landing gear seems pretty good, as well as the stand hole and the very small Gemini Jets logo. I'm a fan of this new smaller Gemini Jets logo, and they originally had their logos quite big on the model, but they've kind of reduced that now, and it does make for a more realistic aircraft, of course, because the real aircraft doesn't have the Gemini Jets logo on it. But at the rear of the aircraft now, we've got the rear doors as well as the registration, which is November 2745 uniform. Then we've got the American flag back here as well. The rear door, as I said. Then we've got the grey underbelly kind of sloping up towards the rear of the aircraft with the blue line as well. And then we have the amazing United tail on the back here as well. This is the same mold as the old livery as well, so these are pretty much very similar. There are a few differences. Of course, the Wi-Fi box is in a different location. On this one it's further back, on this one it's further forward. I don't know if this one's been retrofitted. I don't really know the details behind this, or it's just an incorrect feature by Gemini Jets. I doubt it would be an incorrect feature, but one thing that could be an incorrect feature is, of course, on this one you'll see that the wing doesn't have any emergency arrows or the black line on the wing. I was pretty sure that came standard with every 777-300ER, but maybe not, I might be mistaken. But overall, I would say if you do need a United 777-300, I wouldn't shy away from getting this. Although it does have its drawbacks, it's still a pretty good model. And with that being said, this whole release has been a very successful release. Of course, these two models, absolutely no imperfections on them. These are absolutely perfect. The United one, as I said, does have its drawbacks, but overall it's not a bad model. This release honestly has been a drama-free Gemini Jets release. I'm liking the way Gemini Jets is heading, especially with these kind of releases. My advice to Gemini Jets would be to just don't change stuff when it's already perfect. I feel like Gemini Jets' intentions are good when they try and innovate. Innovation is always good, but don't over-innovate. It's the old saying of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's exactly what I would say to Gemini Jets. Just if it's an okay mold, like the 767, absolutely flawless. A lot of these models, again, there's some little bits they could pick up on, of course, but honestly, just leave it. I feel like they try and innovate too much, and then that kind of goes south on them. They get broken models, they get you know, odd models, and it just doesn't go down well. And then Gemini jets get a bad image for trying to over innovate. But this has been an absolutely great unboxing. Props to Gemini jets, I have to say. And apart from that, I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Again, for the next month, if you didn't see my last Washington Dulles video, for the next month we are going to have my unboxing videos on a Tuesday instead of a Sunday, just to kind of even out the week. I'm basically going to be uploading a little bit less than usual this month, just so I can work a little bit more on Washington Dulles, which this board actually is. But yeah, apart from that, I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.